And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at PBL Robots. This is a game where you each have a giant robot that you are fighting against somebody else with. It can be from 2 to 3 players, although it seems like it's written for 2 players. And I don't really know what PBL stands for because the rules don't say and the box doesn't say. I guess it's just, it's kind of a future where you're in giant mechs. Whoa, giant mechs. That is every kid's dream. Let's take a look. Each player is going to start with this board here, which keeps track of your stuff. How you're supposed to keep track of that, I don't know, because the game didn't come with tokens to keep track of that stuff, but whatever. Like, I mean, how do you keep track of your pilot points? But you have this board anyhow. Each player is going to pick a starter pilot, and there are several starter pilots in the game. These starter pilots are, you pick your starter pilot, then they turn over, and there are ways to show that an arm has got blown off your mech. In one of the coolest parts of the game, you actually will take your mech, and you're going to place it on your pilot. So you can see here that your pilot's stats are showing through there. So this pilot adds 2 to the defense. And if this pilot got injured or comes in critical form, you can move it up here, which gives them, it's kind of a special ability. And this is actually nicer because this one shows their speed and stuff. When you do the one in the middle, it doesn't show anything, which I found a bit more pain in the neck. Later on, when you can add more pilots into your thing. So there you got a 0 plus 3, and some of these pilots have special abilities. But pilots aren't the only thing that you can add. You can add parts. Maybe I want to add this swan's beak, so I stick it on here like that. Or maybe later on I'll get a level 2 card, and I can add this torch pipe here, which is some left arm armor. You can't add a level 2 till you get a level 1, and you can't add a level 3, etc. until you do that. There are ways to add to the head here. Like, look at this. I added a head now. Now he has Arakdar claws, and his feet are now treasure shovels. So he's apparently using his feet to do different treasure shovels. And I'll upgrade through multiple levels and get a level 3 blood and guts gun over here. Now, of course, you may have an arm blown off, but whenever you decide on your turn is you have a move, and that's build, where you can add a piece from cards from your hand. Each player will have their own deck, which at the beginning of the game they can draft and build, or they can just randomly take half the deck and put it in their hands. I mean, put it in a pile that they'll be drawing from. They can also add hangers in front of them. These are like buildings that will give you a chance to store things and give you special abilities. They'll have a chance to add more pilots or crew members. Crew members will give you maybe stats adding to your attack and defense and give you special abilities. Or they also have action cards that possibly can be played. So there's all sorts of different cards in this deck. Here's an example of the deck. You can see here another head here. This is Shrunken Death, and here's a Amino Firearm, Geometric Joe, Dead Limb Disco, Misfire, Diabolical Action, Sacrificial Limb, a Supreme Hanger, a Refuge Laser, Engineer's Handbook. Here's a Mega Hanger, which has storage pretty much for infinity things. So anyhow, if you decide that you don't wish to play a card and attack your opponent, the way that is going to work is each player, you will use one of your limbs to attack one of their limbs. So you can attack their feet with your head or their right arm with your left arm. You'll look at your total attack and roll that many dice. They will roll that many defense, and you simply need to roll higher than them. Players can discard cards from their hands to add to the roll, and they can use hangers and things, and eventually you will blow that limb off, or you will miss, in which case then it's their turn. And this will continue until one person has been completely blown off. They no longer have any active limbs, and they have all 4 limbs, so right arm, left arm, legs, and head, all are blown off. So your robot will look like this. Well, that's very exciting. That person loses. The other person wins. There's more in the game, but it's basically just seeing how the different cards interact with each other, and I'll talk about that now. Okay. In short, PBL Robots is as if a 12-year-old came up with a game that they played and everyone was like, wow, it's awesome, it's amazing. And then they published it. And it is awesome and amazing if you're 12 and you're like, wow, this is great. But it is not good. And it could have been good. But the number one problem with this game is that seriously, it was as if no playtesting went into this whatsoever. It's like, let's put this arm down here that shoots 25 dice. Here's one that shoots a 20-sider dice. Here's one that does this. And that's all cool, and I'm all for that cool stuff. But really? I mean, you have to draft in this game. Because if you don't draft, you will spend many turns continually drawing cards until you have a right arm. And one person is like, ooh, I got level 1, now level 2, now level 3. Excuse me one moment, why I blow you apart. Boom, 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 boom. Dead, game over. And there are so many cards in a deck that say, hey, this crew member will give you this bonus if you have this pilot. Okay, that's one card. What if I don't have that pilot? There's so many just odd references. And then the art looks like somebody was doodling and everyone said, that's cool, robots. And they said, let's make a game. It's not very good artwork. It doesn't look, I mean, it looks like, ooh, that's kind of cool, but doesn't look like something that should be in a professionally designed game. I love the idea of giant robots adding limbs and going out to fight. And it is a theme that people have been trying over the past several years to make a good game. I attempted to design one and it didn't go anywhere. I know it's not a simple process, but this one feels like it was like, yeah, cool, America! And they published it and that was that. And then because of that, I cannot recommend it. Because it's an entertaining idea, but it's like, ooh, look at these cool cards I got. You didn't get cool cards? You lose. Look at this cool roll I got. You didn't roll well? You lose. And the whole thing just reeks of being amateurish. And that is problematic. Not a very good game. Do not recommend it. That is PBL Robots. Dice Tower Judgment, cool idea if you're 12.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Glass gone. Shut the door.
Do.